I have been waiting over 10 years for a game like this. I'm not kidding. As a kid, I went through a phase where I wanted to find and play anime-style games, and if you're like me, you're probably also aware of what that's like. You find plenty of one-off single-player anime games that are great for the first time around, but don't scratch the long-term itch of the specific mental illness you have, or I have. I'm just trying to be relatable. A year ago, I found out about this game called Blue Protocol Star Resonance, which is basically a video game isekai anime, but they removed the part where you die in real life. I've been playing on the CN servers in my own time long before this video was sponsored, so in today's video, I'll be giving you guys an experienced look at Blue Protocol Star Resonance and going over the good and the bad so that you can decide if this game's for you. My name is Braxophone, but you can call me Brax, and let's get into it. For those of you who don't know, Blue Protocol Star Resonance is a live service multiplayer anime game on PC and mobile with diverse content including social experiences, casual collection, skill progression, and most importantly, challenging group and solo content. It has guilds, raids, dungeons, and for a very niche but dedicated target audience, fishing. Yes, Blue Protocol Star Resonance is a true MMORPG, and after playing it for about a month now, I can confidently say that they really nailed what many players have been looking for over the past few months. So you might be wondering to yourself now, well, Brax, what makes Blue Protocol Star Resonance so special? Well, if you subscribe right now, I'll tell you. And if you don't subscribe right now, I'll tell you also, but you should just hit the subscribe button right below the video. What I've really enjoyed about Star Resonance so far is that they take a lot of the functional, proven to work parts of popular MMOs, like complex and challenging boss design with mechanics that you actually have to practice and learn, and mold it all into real-time action combat. On gameplay design, there are currently 8 classes with more being added over time, and each class has a unique skill tree and set of abilities. Unlike some MMOs, you can't have every single class ability equipped due to the limited 4 expertise skill slots. But because of that, each skill carries a lot more weight, and there are multiple different ways to build each class. For example, Shield Knight can be built to dish out solid damage while having some sustaining tools, or it can be built as a reminder that healers are optional. Each class has multiple different class resources, and in some class builds, you just ignore some of the resources to min-max the other ones, which allows for a lot of class diversity. There are different skill trees for every class, and you have limited skill points that you can spend at the moment, so you'll have to choose your spec carefully, is what I would say if you couldn't reset it whenever you want. There's so much room for min-maxing your class and editing your playstyle, and though there will be a meta for every class, you at least have the variability and option to play off meta if you prefer that, or if you just need to for special content. You can also get every class in the game and swap between them, though you'll need to progress your class's skills and gear again. So I found it best to progress one class very far and catch up other classes later, since resources can be pretty hard to come by. And just as a side note, the gameplay itself is so fun and polished compared with some of the other anime MMOs I've played. Your movement abilities improve as you level up, with more levels unlocking more jumps, wall sticking and jumping, flight, and more. The combat feels weighty, and with each class having its own unique gauges and playstyles, it feels incredibly unique. Like an eel wearing a tuxedo or something. On each character, you also get 2 bonus ability slots for a type of gear called Battle Imagines, which allow you to summon or become the one that you slot, and each one will have unique abilities and passives. There's 38 different Battle Imagines in the game as of making this video, so there's a lot of different ways to build and play your class. There is a major downside to the Imagine system though, and it's that it can take an extremely long time to farm the high tier ones. You get 2 daily keys for elite and boss monsters, and they have a small chance to drop one of the major pieces you need in order to craft an Imagine. Some Imagines also take like 300 of these. Now, I wouldn't personally classify Star Resonance as a gacha game, since you build your own characters and can grind out the gear as much as you want. But the biggest issue with the game, in my opinion, is that there is a gacha for Imagines. Every Imagine in the game can be crafted by free-to-play players, but the time sink is pretty absurd due to the daily drop limitations. I've been playing on CN server for a while, and on my main character, I have never pulled on the gacha even a single time with free-to-play currency or paid currency. I've never spent the gacha currency given to me either. I've just literally never pulled it. I didn't want to use it because I wanted to see how clearable the content is with a character that never uses the gacha on just principle alone, and I was able to get good enough Imagines to clear the end game raid. Now, I'm not saying gacha is justifiable, but if you can do it without gacha at all, then even unlucky players can still enjoy the game. I do, however, foresee potential issues with the future of raid content, since in every other MMO on the market, if you're gonna do world's first race, everyone has best in slot gear and is on an even playing field, and to get true best in slot gear, like the very best possible in the game, you're probably gonna have to spend money, which is gonna make the world race feel really uneven for most people. So I do hope that in the future they run some events that make it easier to get best in slot, or just up the drop rates. Speaking of rates though, there is one saving grace. The rates on the gacha are not amazing, but you can buy imagines on the player market from other people. So for example, if whales decide to sell a bunch of high tier imagines, you can purchase them, which will help you gear up even as a free-to-play player. On the CN server, it is pretty pricey, but it's not out of reach for free-to-play players. But overall, people who do spend money will get ahead, and that is just kind of how it is for free-to-play MMOs these days. The TLDR is the world is run by the 1% in this game too, but you can have nice things if you save up. Imagines that may take you a long time to get are up for purchase on the player market, should players choose to sell them, and based on my experience with the CN servers, people will definitely be selling them. The player market in this game is interesting because prices aren't 100% up to players, but they are up to players within a decent margin of cost. Almost everything in this game is marketable, meaning everyone has a chance to get most cosmetics, and there are a lot of them. Like every other good MMO, fashion is endgame, meaning that you're probably gonna find ERPers, and it's up to you to look the most cool, hot, or deranged. Outfits and pieces are interchangeable and dyeable with multiple channels, so you can make the most ugly, abhorrent eyesore in anime gaming history and force everyone to look at it. Alternatively, you can make your character look very cute and spend thousands of dollars on art commissions. The biggest area for improvement on cosmetics is that I would like there to be more of them. Please put them everywhere, in every piece of content, in every dungeon, in every garbage can. There's an outfit gacha for specific looks, but I don't really care about that because it doesn't affect how I play the game at all. There's no stats or anything for it. The character creator in Star Resonance is great. It has tons of options for variable hairstyles and colors, face sculpts, and even body sizes that can affect what options you have for the rest of customization. You can re-customize your character in-game with a ticket you can get with free-to-play currency, and beyond that, there's also even more unlockable hairstyles within the game and also on the market board. All of these customizable aspects within Star Resonance massively enhance the social experience, whether you're a solo player or someone playing with a guild. And there's no shortage of social content either. And no, I'm not talking about fishing, but there is fishing. There's a lot of fishing. There are major benefits to joining a guild, such as guild challenges and bonus rewards, and an exclusive guild shop that allows you to use guild-earned currency for extra goodies. One of the major bonuses for joining a guild is that if you play with guildmates in some content, it actually gives you bonus stats. And I guess as a side note, there's also customizable player-owned housing, but I'm gonna be honest, I haven't even touched that. Having a guild can also be helpful for finding players for party-based content like dungeons or raids. The dungeon design in Star Resonance is interesting because they have different tiers of difficulty that yield different rewards, and the difficulty actually spikes by a lot. The higher you go, the more complex the mechanics become, requiring you to perform the mechanics given to you by your developer overlords or perish. And of course, the harder the content, the better the rewards. A lot of my viewers are gacha game players and know how it feels to have a stamina system for gear, and the good news here is that there is no stamina for grinding out dungeon gear. You can run dungeons infinitely for rewards and use all of that gear on your different classes. The only thing where there is a weekly limit on is your raids, which is a pretty normal thing for an MMO. Speaking of which, I've actually done the normal version of the first endgame raid on the CN server. This is the easiest version and it has actual mechanics, which I'll be honest, aren't very difficult, but they're more complex than anything I've seen in other anime MMOs, since those are usually gacha games. The main difference in difficulty is that in Star Resonance, you can't just swipe until you can one-shot the boss or kill them in like 3 seconds. It doesn't work that way. Even if you get the best imagines possible, the stat differences are not going to be so significant that you can just roll all content. You still have to do all the mechanics. And even in the normal version of the raid, if you screw up the mechanics, it can result in a party wipe and a reset. There are 2 more tiers of difficulty above the one that I played, with new mechanics, less telegraphs, and more punishing fail states. And you have no idea how happy I am about that.
Some good fucking food.
Going back to the topic of limitations though, there is a stamina system. I know, I'm not a fan either. This system is for your open world skills like mining, smithing, foraging, etc. You can actually farm these infinitely too, but the tradable and extra useful materials for things like gear upgrades, gem slotting, and alchemy are all tied to your 400 daily stamina, which caps at 2,000, so you can miss 5 days without overcapping. This sort of thing prevents bots from flooding the market with items, which is oftentimes a problem in free-to-play MMOs, but overall, I do wish that the stamina system just didn't exist, since it can become a barrier to overall player enjoyment when they can't progress as quickly as they'd like. But with that said, it hasn't stopped me from enjoying every second of this game that I've played. I don't think Star Residence is a perfect game, but it's also a game that competes with MMOs that have been on the market for over 10 years, and in some cases 20. Every new MMORPG suffers from the same issues. They don't use a subscription model so that the game is more accessible to players, but it requires they put more monetization in. There isn't enough content at launch because people are used to having multiple expansions worth of things to go through. And of course, many new MMORPGs lock power behind a paywall and make the content unenjoyable for new and free-to-play players. But Star Residence has shown promise in every single one of those directions, and honestly, as far as the monetization stuff is concerned, I don't even really think it's that big of a problem. From my 200 hours of playtime, my biggest complaints have been about there being gacha in the game and about daily crafting and gathering stamina, but the game has been incredibly enjoyable for me, and the endgame content made the journey worth it. The feeling that I got when playing this game for the first time was nostalgic, not in that the systems feel old, but more so in that it gave me the excitement of starting a brand new long-term adventure, and reminded me of the most fun times I've had raiding and doing content with my friends. I have so much to say that I don't think I can fit into this video, so I ended up just writing a list of things I love about the game and things that I need improvement. In my opinion, the things that need improvement are the daily commissions are very repetitive, excessively so for an MMO. There are always daily quests in MMOs, but you get a lot of repeats. There's a gacha and therefore pay for progress. You can convert real money to in-game money via the player market board, which doesn't really affect anything long-term since you can still get everything as a free-to-play player, but it just kind of feels bad. Life skilling is fake infinite. You can infinitely farm nodes, but you won't get the important progression items every time unless you spend stamina. And lastly, tanks are too strong, and they don't rely on healers enough. Healers are not very complex to play due to the lack of the tab targeting system, and honestly, as a tank, I've just kind of never died. Like, it's just never happened. There are some negatives, and it can feel overwhelming, but I don't want to pretend problems don't exist just for the sake of confirmation bias. Overall, the positives way outweigh the negatives for me, because the gameplay feels genuinely amazing compared with other games in its genre. The mobility is fantastic. The game is completely free to play, meaning anyone can play it on their mobile device or on PC, and it has a sub-equivalent option, which is basically just the Battle Pass. If you like sub-based MMOs and you want more resources, the Battle Pass is the way to go. There's infinite grind for dungeon gear. You can do content infinitely. There's complexity to all of the classes that allow for different playstyles and skill expression. It has complex and interesting boss mechanics. Most of the social content in the game can be done solo. Some of, if not most of, the shop items can be gained through free-to-play means or by trading. The endgame raid content is challenging. There is an auto battle option for people who are not as good at using their mobile device but still want to play, but the best part is that it's not as strong as using manual input, which means that skill expression and playing the game yourself actually matters. And the most important thing of all of these is that no gameplay in the game is locked behind a paywall. As a free-to-play player, all gacha gear can be crafted, and a majority of the gachas are on the market board for you to just buy from whales who get extras that they want to sell. On top of that, you are going to get free-to-play currency, so it's not like the gacha is completely inaccessible to you. But as I've mentioned before, I've been playing on CN and I've never pulled the gacha a single time, and I already cleared endgame raid, so do with that information what you will. Overall, guys, the movement and the gameplay feels amazing and improves as you level up. Everything from a gameplay perspective is super polished, the boss fights are engaging, and playing with friends is an incredible experience. I was gonna make this video regardless of whether or not I got sponsored, because this is just a game I've been very excited about for a long time, and man did it deliver. With that said, I'd highly recommend you guys check out Blue Protocol Star Resonance, and you can pre-register using my link down in the description and pinned comment in this video. When this game officially releases, I'll be starting my own guild and hosting tons of guild events and playing with viewers, so if you want to join or if you need any help, make sure to follow my Twitch at twitch.tv/Brax and join my Discord to interact with the community. Thanks for watching, everyone, and subscribe if you love and support women.